Hello and welcome to Room 420, dude. Here we have our CMO at Veriheal, Anthony Dutcher.
Pleasure to be here, Gary.
And I'm a media curator.
Yeah. Episode V1, attempt 2. There was an episode 0 that will never meet the air. We tried. Yeah. We're learning.
Should I tell them why?
Yeah.
So here's what happens. Sometimes when you record something on a podcast and you don't take the metronome out, you'll just hear the whole time underneath. So we just filmed it just to see how it look and sound, and we're excited to have this first episode and work the kinks out in front of everybody.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Gary's been doing the tiny tokes on our Spotify and various other streaming platforms where it's just our news condensed down into tiny toke little versions that you can digest in less than 2 minutes, most likely. Sometimes 3 minutes, sometimes a little longer, maybe. But we're going for a little bit of long term here. Maybe no one will watch it. Maybe someone will. If we can influence one person or help you out or help you understand the cannabis industry a little more, that's all we're here for. Veriheal is the resource, education, cannabis friendly, super cannabis friendly. Room 420.
Yep. Keep you up to date in the latest in cannabis news and education.
Yeah. So what's that thing? Have you ever actually seen a Room 420 in a hotel room? Do you see the number and be like, nice? Like just in places in general?
I know there was something too with the state of Colorado where they started doing like Highway 419.
Oh, because people were stealing the sign?
Yeah, they kept stealing so many signs. And then like hotels, they don't do 420 either.
419.9 is almost more entertaining. Yeah. I would rather have that in my home.
Like, hey, 419.999.
So we're Room 420, and for the viewers at home, we are actually in Room 420. Somehow in this office suite in downtown Denver, we ended up in 420 for this studio.
I think it's super awesome because like right next door, it doesn't make sense to me, but right next door is 400A.
Yeah. And then there's no 400B.
No, it's just 420.
It was 425. Yeah. Now it's 400A.
Yeah.
Next there is like 426, which we're gonna have as well.
Yep.
We're just all over the place, you know. Yep. Office life.
I love this studio. So no matter what, every time you see videos from us, it's 420.
Yeah.
So always. We're 420 year round.
Where else? You ever see like a parking space and you're like, nice?
Yes, all the time. Or if it's like $4.20, which I never see anymore.
How often do you see repeating numbers like on the clock?
Good question.
And then like if you're just like a little inebriated, you're like, whoa.
Oh yeah. Like, is it like an angel number or something like 1111?
1111 is fantastic. You get a big smile. I text my wife, a little smoochie. Yeah, you know, like it's a good number. You see 420, it's super nice. But no, I see like it's daily that you're gonna see it. But you have like pretty good possibility to see some repeating numbers throughout the day.
I feel like this is gonna be my first 420 at a cannabis company.
Yeah.
So I'm almost like, is this like our Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas in April.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like how do you celebrate 420? Is it do you have specific rituals or?
Yeah, I mean I've not smoked on them. I've gone to like big cannabis events in DC when we started there, and those were always phenomenal. I like to not get too out of mind. I'm now mature and sophisticated with my how I approach my cannabis medicine. But no, completely as a recreational user. Sure, back in the day doing dabs or whatever, or divulging, I'd like to just you learn to know what you like and what affects your body, and taking it light is just like really therapeutic for me. The sky looks bigger, the blues are deeper, colors just are more vibrant, just a little bit. So honestly, 420 for me is pretty light. So, maybe I'm not a hardcore 420 enthusiast in that regard, but Veriheal has definitely, humbled me. And I think also like being involved in the industry and seeing how many lives it's changed firsthand is incredibly humbling. And it's like, I think there's so many mediums and channels with which to get these effects, and you are going to use whatever you're going to use as that, I don't want to say crutch, but that doorway to get to where you want to, and whether therapy or pain management and things in that regard. So for me, it's just like, I kind of walk through and it helps me in that regard, and I know when to tone it back. And it's taken a long damn time to get there. A lot of people think like coming into medical cannabis that, XYZ condition, that it's going to have a immediate beneficial, and it probably will or can. No doctor here, certainly no doctor, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's also the self-application. You have to learn with yourself, and sure, you can have access to doctors through the Veriheal platform or coaches, but it's a lot of journaling and the self application of it is like a different kind of medical medium, prescription medication. Here's a pill, take this every day. And it's like, well, yeah, but like how much of the joint do you smoke? Or like how how strong do you hit it? Or I mean, I guess, yeah, we do have edibles, but everyone's going to vary and be different. So it's just super interesting. And that's helped me a lot to see others on their journey after like years and be like, you know what, I want to change it up a little bit. I think I can do better, and constantly improving. And then it's natural. So it's like, you may as well try and figure it out.
Yeah. Have you journaled with your research at all? Or?
There's like various apps, and I try. I'm just not as diligent because sometimes it'll just pop up and you're doing it. And it's like, but I mean, I think that's the path to success for someone like really trying medically to hone in what works best for them, and then reviewing it with a coach, someone that can interpret that. Cause like you can look through but it's not like it's data analysis too. It's very qualitative. So
I think it's interesting because we're talking about like the infancy of the research and stuff. And I almost feel like it's back to like 1800s, like scientists, were like, Isaac Newton's almost like, I want to see what my eye looks like, so he like shoves stuff back there, which like I'm not endorsing by any means, but like we're kind of figuring it out by being mad scientists in some ways.
100%. Yeah, and at Veriheal we do our best to analyze. Like we're not an academic body, but we're working with various doctors, researchers, statisticians, and just with so much data that we've been able to accumulate and survey data, following up with patients after the fact. And of course, we're anonymizing all this, so it's super compliant. A big piece of our platform and privacy and data concerns is just at the forefront, and we want to respect the crap out of that. So we do. But we're still able to analyze some things and repurpose them into reports. And we did one on kind of how male and females use varying products, and it found that women like to use edibles more, and just for there's a plethora of reasons. It was just really insightful, and we just hope it can push the industry up a little bit, because what, like you said, like the research out there is so limiting, and what institutions are allowed to study it and the product they get is just horrific. But with advancements in legalization, passing the House recently last week, now moving to the Senate, which I think it's done before. I'm not as in tune as I should be, but also like the MORE Act did pass, which kind of helps, but like it's like a tease.
Yeah, I think it's trying to figure out, it's almost, you almost have to be distrusting if you're into this industry. If you use this plan, you're like, oh, cool, okay, you passed it, but what does that actually mean?
Right.
And I think what you're talking about with the data too, like we're in such an age of data. I mean, you look at like some of the best-selling books and authors like Malcolm Gladwell and Michael Lewis, with Outliers and Moneyball. I mean, you're a big baseball guy too, buddy. So you look at that and how it's kind of changed the game too. And then with this preference report that just came out too, how is that going to influence more research?
Right.
And how is that data going to be used?
Trying our best. And then we did just acquire marijuanadoctors.com, which had a massive network comparable to the size of our audience, even bigger, and a company that had been in the game maybe 7 to 8 years before us, and when we started at Veriheal in 2017, had looked up to them very significantly. Kind of, I wouldn't say model our framework, but like, definitely took notes. And we're able to scale and take different directions and build an amazing team of hundreds of employees globally now, even just like 20 here in Denver. And super humbling, like I said, now to be able to serve a massive audience, even bigger, millions of folks nationwide here in the U.S. But our content gets consumed all around the globe, so that has an impact now, and it extends it that much further. But like back to the data point, it's like, okay, now we have access to thousands and thousands of doctors that are thinking about and actively recommending cannabis products. So like, how do we even make that better for the patients, people getting recommended? Like, how do we actually educate the doctors more on like what we have, and conversely? And like I said, like not a medical clinic, we're not doctors, and neither am I, but we have enough access to academia to be able to interpret some of this stuff and put out new services and products that ultimately will benefit the patient's health. So I mean, that's the goal here. That's all we're trying to do. People deserve access to this. At this point, we're almost owed access to this. Mm-hmm. Like everyone should have, like, it literally grows in the ground. Yeah. It has roots.
Yeah, it's almost like when I think the alien footage came out like during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
The UFO, and we're like, wait. Now that we know, can you tell us what's going on? Like I think with cannabis, enough people have used it.
Yeah. Yeah, can we like actually like get like some facts here? Here's another thing, and we tried to discuss this before in the office a little bit. Is like we're looking at our phones all day. What we interpret as facts, stats, false is like so muddied now, especially like war going on, full on, as well as like, but the conversation we had was kind of like, you go and use Google Maps and it tells you that your destination's 4 miles away. It's going to take you 6 minutes. And then you go on Google.com, search engine, and you look up things. It's like, okay, I just took this as facts. And I'm looking at the same app, same company, its website. And now I'm reading this news that it's syndicated and showing me. Like, is that always true too? It's like the line of facts or crap is like so muddied, and who knows what's going on Twitter anymore, and how that comes back to cannabis. And I think it hurts. Like, it just hurts all research. Is like, oh, nah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we tease a little 420 fake news, obviously, or April Fools. Yeah. But that's like the one day, right? You get a pass. You get a pass.
And it was like, make sure we post it on that day. Like, because if it goes out on Thursday or Saturday, then it's just fake news. And
And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
What is, did you got on this April 1st?
Oh, definitely. There was one I was reading. It was from like a Denver article, and it said live action South Park filming. And I looked at the cast, and it was like pretty much the cast of It.
Oh my God.
Cast. And I was like, oh, I think they could pull it off, because I've just seen what Trey Parker and Matt Stone have done lately, like especially with like their live action stuff they've been working on lately. And I was like, oh, of course. And then I get to read, and I was like, oh, duh.
This year it didn't get me with some of these groups of people that I follow, but in preceding years it has been like an artist, and they're like, I quit. I'm like going to corporate America. I'm like first thing in the morning, I'm like, that's weird, but like you go for it, bro. Like do whatever you're feeling. I'm like, oh shit, got me. The comments on ours were phenomenal. Everyone was like, damn.
Yeah.
But like really, how can the UN globally legalize cannabis? Like,
I thought it was just fun to do. I think I'm so glad you guys let us do that.
Yeah. I was like, I cringed like emotionally. I'm like the April 1st, but I'm like, yeah, like whatever we can do. Instagram likes to bury, all things cannabis, and it's been a struggle over the years, but we're constantly refreshing, and we're just staying true to our roots. Put out good quality content we believe in. Like I said earlier, if it can benefit one person educationally, like we've done our jobs. We don't care about the likes, care about clean cut information and trying our best.
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly learned a lot. Just been being around some of the new stuff where it's like even when we talk about like different terpenes, I was like, I've heard that thrown around even when I was growing.
Some terps,
and I'm like, oh yeah, terps.
Or like you go through like, I don't know if you've ever been to like the Bible Belt or Deep South. Like years ago, maybe just a year and a half ago, even like seeing it on the highway and like some of these like places, terps. It's like what? Yeah. Like, but it kind of came up with like the CBD growth haze like a couple years ago, and is like, okay, what is a terpene gonna do for me? Like, but like people are actually selling terpenes to put in like dab pens and various things like that, and obviously huge therapeutic potential amongst those, but. Yeah, man, some of these terpene guys that our blog team and research teams putting out, I'm like, oh, shit, like black pepper, like whatever that one is. I don't know. Like lemon one.
What has been, I guess, the most eye-opening thing you've learned about cannabis?
Shit. Damn. In 5 years here, that's a tough question. The most eye-opening. I think beyond just, how negatively regulations and laws through the last prohibition, if you will, has negatively impacted communities. Obviously, Veriheal being Black-owned, extremely humbling to see Sam and Josh's, the founders' stories, and be their first employee, boots on the ground. But then, like, how the resurgence and the right to do the communities that got hurt better has probably been the most eye-opening for me personally, is like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Like, I don't know. It came from, like, I grew up on a farm. Like, I mean, I didn't have access to some of this information. Didn't grow up, super city or anything like that. I mean, had growing up outside of Philadelphia, like, been in the city a lot, but didn't know that the impact of and why a law was passed, or like to really dig into those things was incredibly eye-opening. And I think it moves a lot of the Veriheal movement forward, pushes us, to change the perspective and do communities better. in DC, and we used to go and like pick up trash and give people free medical consultations to get their car, just like to try and help and to see the push. And Sam and Josh will hopefully we'll have on the podcast someday, maybe for 420.
Yeah, awesome.
It's just to see that was just incredibly eye opening. There's like the will of just these these young hustling entrepreneurs to want to do better, not just monetarily but for the better good. Yeah, I mean, that definitely takes the cake. Beyond, like, some of the research, you're like, what the hell? Like, they tested CBG in rats and this happened or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, it's just crazy. Speaking of rats and testing, male, what are they called? Contraceptives? Did you see that? 99%. They're moving to somewhere, FDA maybe.
Oh, is it like the birth? Like
like
cream or something like that?
I don't know if it's a cream. I don't know if it's a cream. I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Or like a pill. I don't know.
It should. Hopefully, it's a pill. Would you? Either way, wherever you stand, like I think it's dope. I think it's good.
I think it's fascinating. I probably wouldn't use it, but good
if it's a cream, maybe not. I don't know.
Little shoulder cream or something.
Oh man, yeah. But rats, they're like super close genetically to us. Isn't that crazy? Like.
I heard that and like pigs, right, with the way their organs are set up.
I don't know about the swine.
I just heard that as far as like when they practice on like surgery and whatnot. I also remember
medical school, they like bring in the pigs
or something like that.
Bring in the pigs.
Skin. I know they use it for skin with tattoo artists and stuff like that too.
Okay.
That's something I heard. I'm probably just spouting nonsense. It goes back to our data thing. We're like, I heard this from my Uncle Joey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I looked it on Google. Yeah. Google tells me it's 4 miles to get home. It's a fact. Okay.
You got like your uncle Google and your Aunt Bing and all that stuff.
All right, have you ever used Bing?
Oh yeah, definitely. Dude.
Really?
I think when in its heyday, and I realized how awful it was. Because like you used Google and you're like, oh, it knows what I want. And then Bing is like, well, that's
the algorithm is not not up to snuff. What about Ask Jeeves? Do you remember Jeeves?
I remember Jeeves. Didn't really use that. I used Yahoo and then Dogpile for a little bit.
Dogpile.
Because I was like, I just want to find random stuff. It would just like scour everything. That's the way it would work.
DuckDuckGo's cool. I like the concept. Google Chrome just knows me so well, and I kind of just like feed the beast. I'm like down. I'm like, it's like. Are you just saying like you just use it?
Yeah, I mean it's so integrated with a lot of things too, especially if you're working in an office.
Yeah.
And then even like there's calendar set up. It's like they know where I'm at all times, but I'm really not doing anything crazy right now. But
just data points. More
it's
data
like
for them.
You get in like you're paranoid.
I know. Once in a while, and that's why I keep the weed intake a little low if it's ever gonna be around. Like. I'll go off the mountain. Like, they're watching me right now.
I think if you see stuff, I mean, do you remember a film like Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf?
No. Oh, sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I've seen too many Shia LaBeouf movies.
Spoiler alert! It was like this big government robot was like essentially controlling everything.
Great.
Watching it, and I was like, oh, cool.
Oh yeah, there was. Did you see Westworld? Mm-hmm. That was like a similar concept, maybe with at the end. That shit flipped on its like head. Season 2 or whatever. It was like they're now in the real time. I kind of liked the country western like vibe, and they're just not there anymore.
Pretty nuts, dude. I think was that Michael Crichton?
Yeah.
Jurassic Park and all that stuff too. Right.
Maybe. I'm not you the movie guy.
I don't know. I'm just like, dude, where people's minds are. Like Michael Crichton's like, I'm gonna show you some scary stuff.
Yeah. Who's coming to Denver, Colorado football? We got the big QB,
Russell Wilson.
How do you feel about that as a longtime Broncos fan?
You're a Philadelphia fan, so I mean we've talked quarterback play too.
Yeah. I support the local sports teams to a point. I won't wear the gear if it's around. It's okay. I won't wear it. I will rep Philadelphia, Phillies, Eagles. Flyers is a tough time right now, but Sixers for sure, through and through. I will go and enjoy a game at that Coors Field. Coors.
I think there's more Cubs fans there than Rockies fans.
You see that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to the 3 games here. We got Philadelphia Phillies coming up. And 420 is one of the games. I'll be there. So that's where I'll be. That's what we'll be celebrating, and then we'll have our Veriheal party.
Going to baseball. That sounds awesome.
Oh, but back to Russell.
Yeah.
Big for the city? Like painting big? Like how do you feel it in your heart?
I think it'd be really big. I think it's like when Peyton came here. I mean, obviously it was right after TiVo Mania. So
Yeah.
people were like, "Whoa, well,
Yeah,
that elevates it." And I think there was a lot of jokes specifically about cannabis at that time too.
Yeah,
because
hell
we
yeah.
played Seattle in the Super Bowl, so everybody was like, "Oh, it's the Super Bowl." And then like that summer, I think he invested in like 21 Papa John's franchises. So we're like, Peyton's really taking advantage.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I'm like, Russell Wilson, like, who knows if he'll be a cannabis spokesman here or something like that too, or like he already went to Children's Hospital.
Didn't we figure something out that he's not?
I don't think he is, but maybe his alter ego, Mr. Unlimited. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean nothing can phase him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peyton, I feel like Peyton and Eli, that dynamic is hilarious.
I love it, dude. And then Cooper now, he's getting in on it.
There we go. Yeah, he's in that commercial.
Yeah.
Are these real gold?
If we're able to advertise in cannabis, I mean, there's sky's the limit. I have so many ideas.
I'm waiting, man. We're trying, and that's a big talking point. That could be a whole episode. Is Veriheal's success riding on traditional channels and mediums of where can we advertise? And we get a little bit more leeway than say traditional retailers that sell us actual product. We're not selling any product. We're education and service. So where we are able to advertise, opens up a little bit more of the doors. A lot of these states have retailer and product specific regulations around cannabis, as well as showing the flower or anything like that. So what we're able to do, it's just like traditional means: billboards, print, radio, TV. Not yet. That's the one. That's the one. You know that every year the cannabis brand that tries to run the Super Bowl ad and then ends up getting more press than they would have from the Super Bowl ad. That's amazing. That's press brilliance. I love that. Yeah. Produce it, go do it, try to run it, say you got denied, still show the ad. Yep. Way more people are going to see it.
I feel like that really works with the internet too, because I think like one I was thinking of recently with the Grammys this year. Yeah, was like Justin Bieber is performing, and he did his Peaches song, and it was just cut. Like it just kept blurring. Oh, to the point you couldn't really hear it. So I was like, I guarantee on the internet tomorrow though,
there's the full.
People are going to see the full. Just be watching the crowd out of it. You know what I mean?
Did that happen?
And looks like it. I mean, it's just like that's just how it feels. Certain stuff on like TV. It's like, well, it's gonna be banned, but it's like, well, I'll just check it on YouTube tomorrow. Yeah. Should
Will Smith be smoking weed?
We're gonna segue back. I feel like that's like the conversation that's not gonna end all year.
Yeah, I saw the best meme yesterday, and it was like, how they'll say like Pepsi smacking Coke and like meme version, and it was just Will Smith, Chris Rock. It was like, yeah.
And as far as like memeing, like it's supplanted that like Batman and Robin one. Like you don't see that as it's just the Will Smith and Chris Rock one. Yeah, and that's where it's gonna be. I think it's just been the gift that keeps on giving in some ways.
What a conversation. Yeah, it just keeps going. I get a little irritated to keep talking about it, but like it's so unique. Yeah. Like, what the?
I think it's one of those things where it's like if it's at a cultural event and people want to know where you stand on it.
Yeah. You gotta. Like, my mom asked me.
Yeah, they're like, well, what do you think about slapping random people? They're like all for it, actually.
Yeah, if they deserve it, I guess maybe.
It's. I think maybe there's a difference. If Chris Rock was up on stage and he's like, Hitler had some great ideas or something like that.
Yeah. Smack him.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah. Get up there.
Stuff like that maybe, but which you can do a whole episode on, I guess, with.
They should do the high. What was that? The Oscars? What was that? Not the Grammys. Grammys just happened. Was it the Grammys?
Grammys just happened.
Whatever that award show was.
Like a high show?
Yeah. High. That's what I'm saying. Like a variation of. Yeah. Are there that?
We're like, because I know they do all these like cannabis.
When broadcast TV allows cannabis to be more front and center. Well, actually, like Netflix is going crazy. Like, remember that like little couple months? Like there was like the baking with cannabis show, and then there was like the other one that was a sitcom
with Kathy Bates.
Yeah. And then like it was like this short period of time. It was like go. Like, do they are just really good at identifying trends, or does that just line up? You think?
I feel like they do trends because right now I'm noticing a trend with like maple syrup in a lot of advertising.
Really? Yeah. Can you speak more on the maple syrup?
Pepsi's doing a maple syrup flavored, and then Adidas is doing a tie-in. I believe it's Adidas. Don't trust me yet. Look it up on yourself. But with Waffle House.
Okay.
Doing like a shoe.
I just saw someone buy a couple Waffle Houses, and I don't know who it is, celebrity-wise, but the maple syrup. I mean, I like a maple syrup. I like a maple syrup.
You got pumpkin spice, maple syrup. It's like, let's try these new flavor ways. I mean, other day too. I mean, I was like, oh, date syrup.
Yeah.
Never had that.
Date.
Maybe that'll come in.
Healthier alternative, do you think?
Probably not.
Yeah. Dates are like what are they, the good diuretic style or the opposite? Thinking. They congest. They're one of those, right?
Yeah.
Prune juice, right?
That's where you get more data. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
yeah, we need more data.
We need like, I think this one too. Like not to like looking at nutrition facts on food.
Yeah.
Or even like when you look at beer, it's like alcohol by volume.
Yeah.
And like sometimes like I think cannabis, there's like a problem early on where it's like I don't know how much I'm getting.
I have a big question about the hard seltzer. Like, they're 0 calories or they're 100. I forget. It's like a beer. Yeah. But how is there no? What is there no artificial flavoring and colors added to them or something? Like, even like a LaCroix or a bubbly, like nothing. Like nutrition facts 0, some 0. What the fuck is that?
It's fascinating to me.
That's what is the flavor? Because you have the bubbly cherry. Yeah. It tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
It tastes like Dr. Pepper. What did they do? I love it. I'm a big fan. I drink several a day.
Sarsaparilla? I don't know.
Does that have no caloric? Like, what is happening? Filters?
I don't know. If they're
filters.
Maybe if they're just like one guy just squeezing a lemon. Just an lemon.
I love that. But then back to the here's a conversation in cannabis that we like to have often is like there's the cannabis CBD THC drinks. All for however your ingestion method needs to happen, all for you however you want to have fun, but like you're not going to crack open multiple THC beers, no alcohol, but like and just keep partying, like right? You're gonna have one. Like I don't know, would you keep going?
I feel like if they package those as like tall boys.
Yeah, you know? Or is there like a maybe through science?
Yeah.
There's a ingestion cadence that's like a 12-minute like buzz.
Yeah.
15-minute, and then the next one kind of like. Do you think we could ever get there? That'd be crazy. That'd be awesome. I think
that'd be awesome. It's like, oh, you got a 6-pack here.
Yeah.
It's like a little different mood. It's like, when he drinks a 6-pack, he just chills out.
Yeah, I like
rowdy.
that.
Yeah.
We're gonna flip the script on 6-packs.
Because instead of just like myself, it's like you drink a couple beers, you're like, oh, feeling
spry.
A
whole 6-pack, yeah. And you're like,
depends. Inflated ego, at least on me, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm funny.
We're just on coffee right now, no food.
Well, I feel like that's like I think for me at least with like drinking, it's like when you make plans the next day.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, let's go skydiving.
Oh yeah, no.
Crap like that. And I think high, it's like I don't want to make plans.
Yeah, no.
I just want to relax.
Right. Super like motivated whilst intoxicated on alcohol, but then the next day actually makes it harder.
Yeah.
And then like the opposite. Oh, I mean, it depends on what you're smoking too. Yeah. Depends on what you're doing. But the next day, like, no hangover, like, and still getting feel good.
Like if you make plans, like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do it while high.
Indulge. Oh, but okay. So there's several cannabis drinks out there. Don't know them by name. One uses like Keef maybe, or it's just labeled that. CBD drinks, all for it. Whatever you need, whatever feels good, tastes good, go for it. In my opinion, but I don't like the blending of THC products with alcohol. I don't know that it can be done and sold at market, but I've seen it like out there, like, a beer alcoholic with THC. It's like going into a territory I don't think cannabis should ever go. If it is, it could just totally be in my head.
I feel like those wouldn't last long, just based purely off of like Four Locos.
Right.
I feel like that became such a thing and then they're like, no, we can't have that formula out here. It's too dangerous.
Right. I was just in Mexico and I saw one.
Yeah.
I saw one. I didn't buy it. I would never. But I wonder if it was like the OG.
The original? It's like, how like Coca-Colas are like, I heard they taste better in Mexico.
Yeah. Mexican Coke.
So so maybe there's like Mexican Four Loko.
Is it just out of a glass though? Isn't it just when it's in the glass bottle?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. There's so many like world rumors I have.
We need Ash Jeeves. Yeah. We should like get a board going of general topics that we need actual firm answers, and then we'll have someone intelligent on the podcast, and they can answer them all.
And then we'll have Noel with the Veriheal taste test.
Yeah, we'll have an engineer start showing us things in real time on a screen somewhere. That's where Room 420 is going to go.
Yes, I think if there's like one guest I'd love to have on this podcast too. Be like a Johns Hopkins like researcher.
Yeah, we have access to them. We work with them a little bit sometimes on. They have trouble getting participants into their studies because they're an academic there's a bunch of researchers that, are there to study data, and sometimes it can be really hard for them to even get like 50 participants. And we're kind of working lately here with Realm of Caring, who is the nonprofit behind Charlotte's Web, I believe, or partnered with them in some regard, Denver-based here. So we're more progress there in that regard and what we can do there and work with them on. But Johns Hopkins, we helped them with like a study, a Maryland study, which should be coming out, I don't know, maybe soon. That's another thing about working with academia is these reports take so damn long. Like there's that NDIA one that we found that's like, what is it? It's a study about CUD and cannabis use disorder, and it's it was like people getting their medical card were more prone to cannabis use disorder because they used cannabis regularly, and that was the qualifier. And it's like, well, no shit. Yeah. It's like the 4-year study. It's like people are more prone to using cannabis. It's just saying people are more prone to using cannabis once they've used cannabis.
Yeah. It's like you can tell it is by the way that it is.
Yeah. A is A.
And I think that is a fascinating study. I think whenever they do like disorders and stuff like that, I'm like, is it going to still exist in the next?
Did you see the Bong Water one? There's another one similar to that. Bong Water is like, no, sorry. Smoking through a bong, something in its relation to maybe like tobacco or nicotine. It's all blurred lines, and it's because of like the actual percolation in a bong, like can do this to lungs, but nicotine and to cigarettes are definitely worse. But like it's how it's phrased, and who knows who funded this stuff. And I could be speaking out my ass, but we're going to report it. The content team's on it. So that's coming. Pay attention to the blog. All this stuff gets put out there. What me and Gary are speaking about there's smart people behind it,
And I think whenever I talk about that, I'm like, there's like people who hyper focus on that stuff.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, oh, I read it, I check out the study, but I don't know what the data means sometimes.
I don't get it fully. And that's why Veriheal's here, is like to dumb that stuff down, because we'll find stuff and we're like, I have no idea what this means. Like, I know it's kind of wrong. It feels fishy. Send it out to our researchers. They dive in, then it gets repurposed and rewritten and then analyzed, and sometimes medically reviewed. We have a team of doctors that can medically review our content for medical soundness, which is incredibly important and something we've only been doing the last year or so, but incredibly valuable. And I think it needs to be a standard, because coming back to the data and Google and news sources situations, it's like, it's like one person wrote this and then they put it out. Like, sure, an editor approved it, but like having that layer of either, lawyer or someone that studied this or understands it, doctor, is incredibly valuable and something we're working on scaling. Obviously not cheap to do, but something that Veriheal has been able to scale, and it's rewarded us with website views and how much attention we've been able to foster over the last few years. So incredibly valuable. We're constantly repurposing our condition pages and remaking them and getting them medically written and reviewed. So just a lot to do out there. So many angles, it's hard to sometimes bottle us all in.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like us to know? I guess some closing statements about Veriheal and marketing.
Gary's a shit. I like having Gary. Marketing, man, we're just evolving. Follow us on the Instagram. Follow us on the gram. We're putting out a lot there. You got any questions? You want us to talk about? We have no idea how this is going to go. This is first version of Room 420. We'd like to hear it. What do you want us to talk about? Is this interesting? Do you like it at all?
Yeah, I think if you want to know something, we could definitely figure it out. They're like, hey, can you try and book Snoop Dogg? I'm like, we'll try.
Yeah, we'll try a little poll, do some polling.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. I mean, I have some more guests coming on here that I'm pretty excited about, that are not in the realm of cannabis at all.
Yeah, and on.
I think cannabis, at least like cannabis for me, it's this new topic that like my generation, at least, and like ours was like, it's the gateway drug.
I hate that.
It's going to lead you to this. And then
the worst.
And you do it and you're like, my gateway was, it's not for me, or it was.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the doorway is my example. It's like you step through it and keep going, or you can walk back out and be like, yeah, that was cool. Like whatever. Or I hated it. Like, I think naturally in the progression of experimenting, cannabis is going to be labeled as a gateway, because it's going to be in there probably first or second or within the top 5. So is alcohol a gateway? Is nicotine a gateway? Presumably. Is watching your parents drink, if you're on Sundays, a 6-pack or whatever, a gateway? Like, like it's way too many scenarios like this. And there's probably lots of research, and I'm probably just talking out my ass again, but like, hey.
The best kind.
That's kind of talk. Room 420, episode 1, down.
Hey, thank you guys for listening. If you like this podcast, make sure to subscribe and visit us at Veriheal.com to stay up to date on the latest in cannabis news. Thanks for listening.